The member from Toronto Danforth.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, my question to the Premier. 85% of Ontarians want Hydro One to stay public. Public ownership means money for our hospitals and for our schools. It means lower costs for families and for businesses. It means ensuring our electricity system serves Ontarians, those instead of private investors. Can the Premier tell Ontarians why her budget doubles down on the sale of Hydro One?
Minister of Energy.
Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I was pleased to talk about the great work that Hydro One is doing at becoming a better-run company, Mr. Speaker, being more customer-focused and recognizing that they can do better, and we've seen that, Mr. Speaker. When it comes to the broadening ownership of Hydro One, Mr. Speaker, we're on track to raise the $9 billion, and $4 billion of that, Mr. Speaker, will be going directly to infrastructure. $13.5 billion in the GTHA, the GO Regional Express Rail, will quadruple, Mr. Speaker, the number of weekly trips to 6,000. $5.3 billion in the Eglinton Crosstown LRT, tripling the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund to $300 million, Mr. Speaker, which will then continue to see more infrastructure built in this province. We're building Ontario up, Mr. Speaker. We're creating jobs, and Hydro One and broadening the ownership of that is one small part of our overall plan, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
Speaker, again to the Premier, people think selling Hydro One is a bad idea. Businesses think selling Hydro One is a bad idea. Energy experts think selling Hydro One is a bad idea. In fact, everyone thinks selling Hydro One is a bad idea. I would guess a large number of those MPPs on that side of the chamber think it's a bad idea, and I know their constituents. Think it's a bad idea. The Premier could have shown that she gets it. The budget could have stopped the sell-off. People got a message from the budget. The only way to stop the sell-off of Hydro One is to change government. Does the Premier get that?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure the people in Mississauga and Brampton think the $1.4 billion in the Huron-Ontario LRT is a good idea, Mr. Speaker. The people in the Waterloo regional area, they see their regional transit hub of $43 million, Mr. Speaker, is a good idea. I know $173 million being spent to expand Highway 69 and making that a 4-lane highway. I know the folks in Sudbury, they think that's a good idea, Mr. Speaker. The one thing I know, Mr. Speaker, that the people of Ontario don't think is a good idea is that party, Mr. Speaker.